What's up guys, Paris here once again bringing you the third part of my Devil May Cry DMC, whatever you want to call it, the reboot, part 3, the third mission. So we start off with a bit of a cutscene, explaining stuff. I really do like part of this with the graffiti coinciding with the story. He telling you about everything, the backstory, the Nephilim, Sparta and stuff like that, and all the graffiti fits in with it, and it's detail I've only recently noticed.
At his right hand was his most trusted lieutenant.
So like this one, behind Daddy, showing about the love between Sparta and Eva.
He fell in love with an angel, Eva. The secret union between angel and demon was inconceivable, but it happened.
It's just look at the thing, like the two children,
twin boys,
behind
you and I. A hybrid of the warring angel and demon races. When Mundus learned of Sparta's betrayal, his fury knew no limit. He hunted the lovers down.
See, I should be talking, but you easily get sort of drawn into the way this is done. Explaining it and watching the details.
But even as Eva was destroyed, and Sparta was imprisoned for eternity, each knew that the seed for their revenge had already been sown. Because according to legend, the only beings that can slay a demon king are Nephilim.
See, look, you look,
a hybrid
it's the Nephilim. That's, I think, one of the nicest of the graffitis. I do like the contradiction between the two. It's just, the juxtaposition, the dichotomy that angels and demons gives is ridiculous.
But there were two Nephilim, and each had been hidden well. Sparta armed his sons. The rebellion for Dante.
See that they've got the swords.
The Yamato for Virgil.
So, Mundus killed our mom and imprisoned our dad.
Yes.
He's not speedy with this, is he?
Demon father,
but
we are Nephilim, the only ones that can slay the demon king.
Good. How?
Oh no, we didn't spot it. Let's throw a knife in his head, shall we? Ha ha ha.
Being dragged into limbo. I'll find Kat, she'll get you out.
So back into limbo. This mission is potentially actually a super short one. What I think I do, or I'm going to do, is I'll show you the quick version first, because I've got all the abilities, because I've finished the game multiple times. I'll show you that first, because that's super quick, and then I will go back and give you a taster of what it's like if you do how it's originally intended. And even then, it's a very short mission. In fact, actually, if you're based on what like rank you get from the mission, doing the full version is actually advisable, or at least I would say, because you may get the speed by doing this shorter version, but you lose out because of style, because you do not fight enough enemies purely through this. You do need the increased, the extra enemies to be able to get yourself the maximum score. If you want to get as high a score as possible, you kind of have to. So, Kat's already preparing my escape. So you'll see the junction between the two coming up. So I walk along here, and we get a little cutscene in a second. So the road is blocked. They ripped it up, and there's now a bit that's too far for me to jump. When you first come here, you do not have the ability to jump far enough. It's only later when you pick up this ability, which you will in a minute, that you can do it. So I do the really quick version, which will end here. So as I stay here, let's try that again, but the original route. So just before we jump, let's go back. So let's head back into this way. So the video seems to be having a little bit of a Jitteryness there, but as you can see, we now got our enemies going again. So this is what I'm saying, the fact that the pure number of enemies outweighs the time that you save. Yeah, just look at, yeah, we're increasing the score just by doing this. Yeah, and we wouldn't have done that otherwise. Yeah, and this is the point I'm making, the fact that you need to, in a way, do this version if you want to get as good score as possible, because you want to score well. Yeah, sometimes that's actually more important than the time you say it, as I say. So we'll carry on going. You see there's a fountain in the centre, and that's actually where we're going to be heading. Yeah. This enemy is almost pointless in a way, because where they put it, you know, you bash them against that barrier, which makes it really easy for you to kill him. You know, it's not well designed, but it makes it easy for you. So we're gonna have a bit of jumping in a second, or jumping, pulling, whatever else. So we'll pull ourselves over to there, do some demon pull. Then we can carry on our progress. As I say, we're working to the centre of the fountain currently.
Another blue rose.
So we do that. So, as before, we're going to go into that world. Yeah, go through the weird TARDIS tunnel, and then we'll hit up with our new ability. As I said, you know, this is a very short mission, and even with showing you the two ways of doing it, it's not going to be a very long mission. You know, I always imagined Devil May Cry levels come in sort of 15-minute pockets, and to an extent that is almost true. You know, a lot of the missions are done within 11 or 12 minutes sometimes, but you know, occasionally you do get lengthy ones. You know, just think of how much time the last one took. You know, with all the cutscenes, yeah, that verged on half an hour. But again, that's because the cutscenes. You know, if you just play the game pure, sometimes you're only playing for a couple of hours. I know for when I got the HD collection of Devil May Cry, I was playing the second one, and I was playing it as the female character Lucia. I actually get lost here for a second, forget that I'm supposed to carry on further. And I think my entire playthrough on a single difficulty, you know, only accounted to like 3 hours. You know, I did 2 difficulties and a couple of run-throughs of attempted run-throughs of Blue Palace, and yeah, that was only clocking me up towards 4. You know, and that just seems stupid, the fact that, you know, how short that is. But that's because of the actual gameplay compared to cutscenes. Cutscenes, you know, you forget account for a lot. You know, I think I have mentioned the fact that if you just watch the cutscenes back to back on a game like The Last of Us, yeah, that's, you know, like an hour and a half just of cutscenes. You know, think how much gameplay you've got on top of that. You know, that's why some games feel, yeah, if you weren't just on gameplay, some games are actually much shorter than they're on about. You know, when they talk about 8 hours of campaign, is that actually 8 hours of campaign, or is that 8 hours of play and cutscenes, or is it separate? You know, when they say an average Halo game should take 8 hours, you know, Halo is one that has massive cutscenes. You know, the cutscenes are a big part of Halo. So does that 8 hours include however long the cutscenes are? I imagine, you know, across a typical Halo game where there's 10 odd missions, you know, if each mission has a 10-minute cutscene, you know, 10 tens is 100, that's 100 minutes. So yeah, that's over an hour and a half of that. So, you know, an 8-hour campaign, is that actually, you know, much less? Is that only 6.5 hours? But yeah, I'm getting distracted about times and not actually what I'm doing. So I've got my new ability, I'm back out. Let's go kill some more enemies as they continue what I discussed before about the need for doing this to ensure that you get the best score possible. I don't even, yeah. I think actually, I remember I only got like an S for finishing it quickly last time, but you'll see the difference in that in a minute. when I do this, how much it affects you by just doing this rather than anything else. The fact that the scores much higher. I think it was something tiny before, but now it's much larger. So we'll head back to where we came. Now we can actually make our way through. As I said, this is basically a basic run through rather than anything else. It's not a walkthrough. If you wanted a walkthrough, then go find it, because I'm not giving you that. I'm just doing basic gameplay with a bit of chat and conversation for anyone who wants to hear it, I suppose. So closing towards the end of the video actually now. Annoying loading screen, and then a brief cutscene, I believe, before we're out. So here we go.
Silver Sachs Tower, the world's most powerful investment bank. And who runs it?
Mundus.
CEO Kyle Ryder, the human vessel, the physical manifestation of Mundus, the Demon King. Through debt, he controls everything. To Mundus, the world is a factory farm for human souls.
See, he's being really negative about Mundus there, isn't he?
The monitoring is done by the Raptor News Corporation.
Raptor News being the evil bad guys, as you may have guessed quite early on with the claiming of the terrorism.
What is it? It's in your hand.
Planet Earth's energy drink. Virility.
The demons have spiked it.
There's an excellent mission later where you
It has no effect on us, only humans.
sort of go after that. I think that's definitely my favourite boss in the game, and I was quite happy that they had that as part of the demo. As you probably saw from that gameplay, it's good fun, excellent. The conversation and banter is good enough, and then you got just generally the gameplay. So the plotting and planning and planning and plotting. So that's like, do we go after the news or the energy drink first?
Okay, so to kill Mundus, we need to drag him away from the Hellgate.
So the planning.
Roughly speaking, yes.
It's weird actually the juxtaposition in Virgil. The fact that you see him in this elegant coat, and then you see him in this more casual setting and the most bland and rough shirt you could imagine. It's really weird. So that's kind of like the end of this video now. We'll have a quick sneaky at my final score. Oh look, Triple S. So until next time, guys.